Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Happy to have you here. My name is Ricardo Vieira, and I am the Director Curator of the Lehigh University Art Galleries. We'd like to welcome you for this very special occasion. First, we are dedicating this exhibition, this occasion, to somebody that many of you know and to somebody that many of you love very much, including me, which is Betsy Passini. Betsy was essential, in the continuity and progress of and success of the gallery's volunteer. She was our first coordinator of volunteer in 1997, and she was known for her charismatic grace and charm. We are extremely grateful for Betsy's ability to provide, that top quality of volunteer for the art gallery, and also for her family. She got a fantastic family, and she introduced to me the person who actually made the connection to all this, which is our friend Lisa, which is one of the persons in this exhibition. She's one of the artists from Norway. Lisa has been living in Norway for quite a few years. I would say 25 years, close to that. Close to that. And then immediately, the first thing that I love her work, and I said, wow, this is interesting. And she said, well, I got 3 other ladies as good as me, who are doing a lot of good stuff. And I said, well, that is fantastic. That is even better. And then we start talking, kind of long distance, but somehow we made it. We start working and talking. And last summer, she came with the group, and I have the honor and pleasure of meeting them. And I will be introducing each of them now, because we got to do here a gallery talk. Therefore, each of the artists got to talk about their work, and they got to be moving around. And please, we would like to have questions and answers, and to participate with the whole thing. Hi, Betsy.
Are you there?
Okay. Then this has been, which is fine. Then the great thing is to have the group as an artist, in residence, as a visiting artist at Lehigh. And they have been here for a week, and this has been a great experience, because we got a lot of the classes and a lot of the students. They have been able to actually have a lot. I worked very hard, but they have been able to really work. But we couldn't do this, we couldn't have done that without our staff, the Lehigh University staff. And I want to mention, every one of them who are here, I would like to start with Mark, who is our coordinator of exhibition. With Jeff, who is, he doesn't like to hear that, but he's my genius in residency. He's our preparator, and of course, it wasn't for Denise, even me, I won't be here, And our volunteers, our supervisor of volunteer, I think that Pat is around, and hello, then, okay, after doing that, as I say, the beauty of this exhibition was this collaborative spirit, because they are very individual artists, and as you can see by their work, everybody has their own discourse, their own way of seeing things, but it's a common denominator in this exhibition, which is color. The color has been a very important thing on that. And I already introduced Lisa, therefore I will ask Lisa to talk a little bit about her work, and that way each of the ladies, each of the artists will be talking about their work, and then we can start a little conversation. Lisa?
Well, first of all, I'm the only one of these, of the four of us who is not Norwegian, obviously. I'm American. I was born in Bethlehem. For me, doing this exhibition was quite special because normally I work in outside installations. I don't do gallery work. I've only had 3 big shows. And when I started working for it, I started thinking about where I was coming back to. I'm going back to America to exhibit for the first time since 1985. All the time that's been in between, and having lived in Norway, how it's changed the way that I work and my reflections about myself and these 2 cultures that I've been living with. Therefore, the looking backward forwards came in. It's this idea of I've been looking back at my life and trying to make new works, but obviously in a direction that is taking me, that I'm assimilating and looking forward. I obviously work with mirror. All of the pieces, I feel that the mirror is sort of my American cultural part, and I've been taking forms. For example, the chair is a 150-year-old Norwegian chair. I feel that it's a very Norwegian, wood is a very Norwegian material, and I feel that the mirror is, for me, it's very American. It's sort of like flashy, it's more direct, it's more in your face, and the wooden material is more sort of, it has a different sort of culture. So I'm trying to work with these 2 things together. I don't know if everybody's seen the skis, but that to me is another thing that I feel is extremely Norwegian. If you don't ski, you really don't know the people. And I'm learning to ski more and more, and I like it more and more, and I find that when I meet Norwegians out in nature, they're completely different. And I feel it's a very important thing. So again, I'm trying to mix these 2 things together. The pyramid and this other piece are more, they just have to do with sort of mirror work with optics. I like working with optical illusions, and a mirror is an optical thing, and I'm just sort of pushing the material along with the way that I work with it. It's sort of really simple and straightforward, but as you can see, I'm also the only one that doesn't have color.
Yeah, like this.
So I was not allowed to put on any color. Everyone said, no color. that was supposed to have color. I was going to make my first color piece, and I'm very glad I didn't get it back. It's working here together. It's the first time that the 4 of us have had our work in the same space, ever. Ever. Huh?
You've got color in there.
Yeah. So it's been very interesting, this whole process, and it's been just fantastic working here. We've really, really enjoyed it. It's been wonderful, and the staff, working with the staff has been absolutely, astounding. The students, it's been just wonderful.
As Lisa, the other piece that is a collaboration is the piece that Christine did with also a person who is not here, which is the sound person, but with Lisa, who have the glass elements in that installation, which is a media, new media installation. One thing that I would like to, to mention before we get into the next artist, we go to Mona Lublin, who got to be talking. She's the painter of the group, although everybody do a little bit of everything, because also Anne is also a painter. That is her tradition, how she comes. But the other thing is the element that, as Lisa mentioned, this is the first time, although Lisa and Mona are friends for many, many years, this is the first time that the four of them actually work together as a group. And that is when she proposed to me, and she said, well, 3 other artists, and I said, well, that is fantastic, and you know, they've been working for the last 2 years, because we talked about 2 years ago, and they've been putting things together, and that has been a great experience, and I hope, you know, as much for them as for us, you know, because and our students will really have enjoyed to see the process that's going on. Well, now we are having Mona.
And as you said, this is Lisa, so this is Mona Lisa.
Mona.
Which was the name of our exhibition?
Yes, we had an exhibition, we stayed in Rome. We did a lot of research. We were starting working with architectural related objects, geometric forms, and we ended up making an exhibition called Mona Lisa. Just for the fun of it, but basically it was built on the understanding of room, which is also our concept now. We call it open space, but we are all working with room-related art. This time our main object was color. The code color, you know, or the color code is what we've been challenging. You kind of have to move into each other in another way, and this is the starting point here in Bethlehem, and we're moving on, and we're going to show next time in Tromsø in November, December. And those of you who know north of Norway, it's completely dark, you know, in November, December. It's quite a big museum building, and we're going to make also some projections of light to, you know, to lighten up Tromsø a bit on the facade of the building, and we're going to make, and everything is an ongoing process. So what you see here, we will go to work on, and then, you know, get new inspirations connected to the rooms we are in, which is very important. What I've been doing this time with my painting is that I'm concerned about time. I've been working with time, I've been working with Venice. I did an exhibition also with objects, photos. This time I've just been concerned about the materiality. I'm doing oil painting, and oil painting is a very old tradition. It's a lot of people who work mostly with acrylic, you know, today. So I stick to the oil painting because that's my passion. And my paintings are called Connecting or Connections, and this one, Delft Blue, which is an opening to the color, the experience of the color in the painting. This other one there is Connection King's Blue. So I worked with color, and it's, but I feel it's connected to the experience of room. Everybody carries within themselves feelings connected to space, to room. And I guess when you look at my work, it will open up and may give you different experience, and also different connections to room, you know, what you have inside, or, you know, whatever you carry inside. And yes, my technique, as I said, is very, it has a very long tradition, and I like playing with technique. And also, as you see, some of my parts could resemble draperies, but it could also be kind of color energy, and I use it as, when I mix the colors, I like to see the span of the color, you know, from dark to light. It's the classical way of building a picture or a painting. It's with light, shadow, color, contrast, soft, hard, you know, all this way of playing. So that's what I've been doing. That's my contribution.
One interesting thing thing of having, you know, a group here is because the spirit of this gallery as a teaching collection is actually an open laboratory. And this is the beauty, you know, of seeing and moving, and we spend, you know, a whole week doing that, you know, building and rethinking and, you know, the whole thing. Therefore, that to us is not just a gallery, it's an open lab where we can actually work. Now, the next person who's going to be talking about her work is Henny Ann Islam. Here she is, and you can move this way because she wants to refer to her works right here. You can move, you know. As long as you don't walk on top of that, it's okay. Here we are.
You can come closer. This is my work. I call it a painting installation. I am a painter from the beginning, working on canvas. When I started, yeah, I don't know how to say it, but I started to work with wood. It's MDF boards, and in the beginning I painted it like paintings, but I like that things are simple, so I worked more and more towards monochromes with acrylic on wood. After a while I wanted it to be more perfect. I tried lacquer by myself, it was not perfect. And I got in contact with a car lacquerer who helped me to get the surfaces perfect. And that is a very good thing to, I think the color is coming very nice. It's coming, I'll say, Spanish. Yeah, it's coming out of the work. So I have made this done this for about 2 years, and I think it's very interesting to work this way. Also, the difference for me from working on canvas to this way of working, I think it's very interesting because you have this volume. It gives a volume, and I like that. I need that. I think that is, for me, more interesting than working two-dimensional. It gives something extra, which is interesting, I think. Also, I work with these shelves. I put it on shelves. That gives me a possibility to be very flexible. I can move the boards around. This work was not decided. Sometimes I do that, but this time I have mixed the colors until almost the last day. So it's an interesting way of working, I think. I also have worked, used my works in public commissions. That's the right word. So I like to use the whole walls, the corner, or work directly on the floor, because I'm interested in architecture, and therefore it's natural for me to work in this way. I teach in an architect school, so I am in contact with this profession. So but I work. Yeah, how to say? I work it as a color competition. No, competition, composition, I want to say. Excuse my English, it's not perfect. But what should I say? So in a way, I use the whole wall as a canvas in a way. So the composition is compared to the size of the wall. I have also this work on the floor here. This is made for the exhibition here. I have never did it before. Often I inspire me from everyday life, things I see in
In the studio at the house, out in the street, on the car.
Yeah, things you see around in your everyday life. Yeah, this is a stable. You can see sometimes in places where they are building and so on. I pick up the inspiration often from places like that. But I made this. I used the model of the gallery when I was in Norway, because we visited this gallery in June. And I made this, I felt we should have something on the floor. And I have made a color installation to in a way connect the other works. So that is my contribution to to work together with the others. Yeah. And the red color is it's coming very nice out. It gives energy, I think, to the room. I have another piece down here, a dark one there. It seems black almost, but it's dark blue. And the color concept depends on the lighting. But this is the opposite of this work. It's dark and it's blue. I call it in the room. So it's more interactive in a way. The contrary of this. Do we have any questions?
Well, we will go into question now. In a minute, you know, everybody's
Okay.
going to participate. Now, the next person who will be talking to us, you know, I'm interesting, is that she also did the very first piece. I don't know if you noticed, in the in our what we call our virtual gallery. You know, in our screen down there, we have welcoming you is colors, and she is a photographer, a video person, and here is Christine to talk about her work, who is right here in front of us.
I was thinking that I'm doing the kind of opposite journey to Lisa, because I went to Parsons School of Design 26 years ago. I also came back. It's so nice to be here. I'm working with this photography. I'm also a painter, like the others, the two others here. I think and I work like a painter. You can see it's quite painterly, but the photographies are taking as you see it. It's not manipulated. I use analog cameras and a fixed lens, and it's negative film. I'm really searching and investigating daily life details or surfaces. I take most of them on travels. I travel a lot. And I walk with my camera and all my equipment, both cameras, video cameras. And I try to catch these details of quality of detail. Really try to find interesting images. And it's very often modern architecture in big cities, which where you can find these motifs. Last year we went here for a week's research tour in June, and we were staying at work for a few days. And this photo is both, the type is Madison Avenue 1 and 2. And they're from a shop window in Madison. So you can see it's very often from like a architecture. And this is from Berlin last summer. And then I also work with video works, and I do a little bit of the same thing. I go very close in the motifs, and I'm very concerned about the moment's quality detail, the same way of thinking. This is also very typical painterly way of thinking, the way I do it, composition, colors, light, soft, hard, sharp, unsharp, all these things you can see in the photographies. The video in there, we had a really nice collaboration, Lisa and I, working with, I always wanted for a few years to work with mirrors in my video works, because my videos are very simple, they're only one moving image. It's very much like a moving painting, sort of. And I was thinking that it would be very nice to try out to work with an artist who's working with objects and mirrors and see what happens when you project on glass and mirrors and things like that. And we're working it for quite a long time in my studio, trying out different ideas. It was very interesting, I think. And this video is, it is actually the rainbow. The title is Spectra Emotions. It's filmed from, it's outside a huge container of water, and I was supposed to film, I just explain you how the process is because it's interesting. I was going there to film the water moving inside this container, but when I was looking through the camera, I suddenly saw the rainbow. I was like, wow, this is really nice. And I went back and forth many times to film this. And the interesting thing is that is the real life, you know. It's that's the life. That's the sun coming down and making all these colors. I think it's really interesting. And yeah, you can have a look later. And the music is Erik Rulle, is a musician I worked with before. It's very clever. And he has made this piece especially for this room and this the whole installation. And outside, this piece came very late because it's like Hanian, it was made for this group. I had the idea many years ago, but I thought it fit perfect in this connection. Yeah, I don't know what is anything more to say.
Well, I think that this is a great opportunity for you to ask questions to the artists, to any one of us who have been working in this project. Therefore, the floor is open. Yes.
How did the idea of the four of you working together start, and how has the process been for the four of you to work together?
We can do it together. I had experience working with Lisa, and I know her, you know, both as a person but also her work. She has done lovely work on the huge facade in Oslo. Very challenging work, you know, like 14 meters high, like some of the theater buildings. She'd been climbing up and down, and I thought she needed something, you know, more earthly. No, but it's also very nice, you know. We travel and we work in Europe, and I think the idea of when Lisa, you know, was here, let's do this, you know, let's move our work, let's come in dialogue with another world, and we will also exhibit it in Purchase in Westchester at the Norway Museum, next to Norway Museum, 2013. So that will be a completely different room to work in. And I think the idea of our whole project is to move, you know, and be on the move, and change, and get different challenges than if we were only one person. And I think what's been so nice, as also Ricardo mentioned and Lisa mentioned, is when we came here, we had this beautiful model, we've been looking at it, working on it, you know, for a long, long time. And we thought, this should be there, this should be here, and we came into the room, and we had these beautiful persons around around us, Mark and Jeff and Kali, who is not here, and all of a sudden they said, no, it should be here, it should be there. So we had to move around, and I think that's so interesting, because you kind of develop, and this dialogue between people. And you know, when we're leaving, on Sunday. It will stay on for 4 months, and I hope a lot of people will come and make their own experience of space, of how to, that we are for different, as Ricardo said, individual persons, but that we have managed to make some dialogues in our work, which is very nice.
Thank you.
Other questions?
I have,
Yes.
Lisa mentioned that, where's Lisa? You're there. That you thought that your mirror work was American, thinking that the wood is distinctively Norwegian. Would you all say that your work collectively expresses something Norwegian? Is this what you would expect in terms of contemporary Norwegian art? And what is distinctive about a Norwegian art, if there is such a thing?
I would actually like to turn that one on you and ask you if you think that if it has anything different than American art. Do you see this as looking different than a normal American show, or is it more or less the same?
I would be somewhere in between, I guess. No, I mean, for example, with regard to the wood and the mirror, you could turn that around, and this may be a completely stereotypical kind of stupid American response to think that glass and mirrors are ice-like, and that obviously being up north, that somehow would be characteristic of Norwegian. So, no, I think first impression would be this is not Norwegian, this is world art, this is world contemporary art. But I wonder, that's simplistic too. And maybe it's simplistic to think that we need to put that kind of nationalistic label on it.
No, I think it's a very good question, because it's something that personally, I was very, this idea that we were going to be Norwegians exhibiting in Norway, all of a sudden there's a little bit of an interest because you hear Norwegians exhibiting in Norway. But, if we could have just as well said we were from Germany, perhaps. I don't know. I mean, that's why, in fact, I've asked people that have come here what they think. Because, this idea of culture, sometimes it's very clear. People use culture in their work, and they definitely, underlining that fact. They want you to know that this is African art or South American art, and sometimes it's not clear at all. In my search, for me, it was very clear. I really wanted to work with these two cultures because I feel it's, I don't feel Norwegian completely. I never will, although I've been living there for 25 years. That doesn't mean I don't like it. I'm just not Norwegian. And when coming back to America after having been gone for 25 years, there's so much that's happened in these 25 years that the America that I grew up with in high school is not the America that I face when I come back. And I just don't feel, I feel American, but I don't think that I feel as American as people that have lived in America their whole lives feel, because I have been living in Europe. My father was also Colombian Italian, and I've always felt this sort of not having one culture that we spent a lot of time in South America. So this feeling of that I'm not quite sure where my feet are. That's why there's no seat either on the chair. I'm not quite sure where. It doesn't mean that I'm unhappy about it, but it's an issue, that I'd like to talk about.
Do you think the Swedes and Finns think that there's something special about Norwegian art?
I think it would depend on the artist, because again, there are some artists that are really doing work that is focusing on Norway. That's clearly Norwegian culture, and then it's important. But I don't think on the whole, with modern art or contemporary art, that is so much of an issue. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think when it comes to, especially when it comes to design, furniture designs and things, you can talk about the Scandinavian way of doing things. Not Norwegian, Danish or Swedish, I think, because we have a lot in common. But Scandinavian way of seeing it, I think, maybe.
But
But then after, what's Scandinavia? How do you talk about that?
Yeah.
For example, your brother worked on us.
Yeah.
And and it's interesting, definitely he's a Norwegian,
Yeah.
but is that making, because he worked with an Norwegian art?
I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I think in a way, like, because since she moves around. You know, we travel. I work a little bit here. You know, I work in Italy a lot, and we move. She travels. She lives in Berlin, and that's you're opening up, and you kind of carry within yourself. You know, all these realities. It's not like typical Norwegian, whatever. You know, we have Norway is a very special country. It's probably the what is it? Most atypical of the Scandinavian.
Most atypical.
Yes. The most atypical, is it possible to say that?
Yeah.
No, but you know, we're not like, we were just talking about that because we don't cross the road, somebody said to us, when it's red. You know, all Norwegian goes on red. We don't, you know, we don't fit into some, we are very individualistic. I would say that is very much Norwegian.
I think what would be Scandinavian, it would be natural materials and nature. I think that without a doubt that all of these countries, that is the focus on the really good pieces, that you see this connection with nature very clearly and immediately. That I think would be one.
I always think of it as really clear color, lime, white, and different. But I haven't seen that much Norwegian art. But in the back of my head, when I look at that and I think about it, that's sort of what I see in these. And what's interesting to me is that this was Madison Avenue. That you said it's in Berlin, but it doesn't matter where they are.
This is for Laura.
But you know, talking again about color codes, you know, it's I think you all as individuals, you carry these colors inside of you, and you have associations to colors. When I'm doing my work, I know, you know, all of a sudden it's kind of a surprise that I get connected to something that I kind of want to emphasize and lift out, and that's my own story. But you know, if you talk about green, it has, you can think about nature, but it could be also be a part of your kitchen in the 70s, or it could be, you know, a dress you had or something, you know. And I think that is interesting because color is a lot of feelings, you know. Making art is also feelings, you know. You have the calculated part of it, which is maybe more sizes, more mathematics. It's a lot of mathematics, but it's also that part of feeling. And when even, you know, doing this room, we have to use that part as well, you know. It's a whole thing. It's not only intellectual, and you know, it's also, it's communicating. Art is communicating, and it depends on who is there, who is the receiver. And I think it's nice when it's open. And I think the national part, you know, if you go back, everybody knows who Munch was. And you probably think about the screen, but look at his colors. You know, he's a great painter. He's a fantastic drawer, was a fantastic drawer, but I would say that his colors are maybe, you know, the strongest thing, and it's the mental colors of Munch that makes the paintings. You know, the strong contrast in the paintings.
Especially in the photography, I'd be curious because the nature of light where you are on the earth is different than the nature of light that we have. And I'm curious about your photography and your film. And even just growing up in a country where the cycle of light is a completely different thing, the angle of incidence and all those elements must have an effect the way you kind of just perceive color, but also reality in a way, because you do have a whole different cycle of light. It's not quite as drastic as, say, Finland or something, but how does that affect you? Do you feel that difference, or is it even part of your way of perceiving things in terms of light being different?
I would say absolutely. For my, you know, in the springtime, what starts happening is the light starts coming back, and you start getting shadows in the houses that you haven't had anything of, and you all of a sudden you start realizing that life it's coming. Spring is starting to come, and it's a long, dark winter. And these shadows are beautiful, but I don't know if it's because the shadows are so beautiful or it's the anticipation of the light is coming back. You know, you start seeing it's finally coming in the kitchen. You know, there's, you know, it's for me, I love that time of year. I don't know if you guys notice it. It's magic, I think, and it always brings me hope because it's...
The winter are very dark, the days are very short. You know, it gets light about 9, 10, and it's getting dark about 3. And you know, in the summertime, it's light all the time. And the further north you get, it's completely, as in daytime, the whole day around. So, you know, I think you're right, you know, we have a special thing about the light, but, and then we, as I said, we are exhibiting in Tromsø, we are going to play with that, because at that time, in November, it's dark all day and night, you know, which is interesting.
Yeah. How did it affect your photography?
I was thinking about it. I think it's very unconscious. But of course, the light is very important when I do the photography. So somebody asked me why I don't take the photos in the night, during night. But I think it's also because I want the colors. You know, it's difficult to work with colors when it's dark. Or then you have to have lights or artificial lights, I think. But I think for me personally, I'm for me the nature is very important. I go out during winter when it's light to try to, because it's really good for your brain or your mental situation. I think we think about it, you know, and we open it. I don't have any curtains, you know, I want the light to come in all the time, and it's very important part of the life, I think. And then I don't know.
Come over.
You want to hear from...
She's trying to hide.
There's some 15 years pieces are sent between plexiglass.
Yes, the shiny ones are also the negatives are scanned, and they're printed on big sequin photographic papers, and they're mounted. This one is mounted between two plexiglass. This is glued on aluminium.
But there's a lot of reflection
Yeah.
going on in yours, in Lisa's stuff, and Henne's stuff. So it's
true.
yeah. And Mona, I wanted to ask you, why are the little pieces in plexiglass boxes?
Well, I kind of play with that because I like the materiality. I like that it's kind of protected. It's small details of something. All my paintings, you know, even back in 2000 was totally photographic. I was doing series that was totally, and I played with the technique all the time. And I think on the small paintings or paintings in plex, it's kind of, you know, it's a fragile part. And it's also that I think if you look at the shadow, I play with the shadow, so it starts to make a three-dimensional feeling on the wall, a little bit, you know, more hard edge part. And I think that's what also you are doing. You know, when you do the montage, you also, if something happens, it gets more three-dimensional with the materials, you know, that you have the light and everything.
Lisa, you had mentioned that most of your pieces are in nature, and this is kind of a rare exception. So what materials do you work in?
Mirror, but I put them outside. I put them on the fronts of buildings or around trees or on bridges. Before the glass, I worked with grass. I didn't mean to be funny about it, but I just changed the material. But I think I'm going to go into sponges after. I've been working with glass for about 8 years, and I think it's beautiful because it's, you know, it's so pure and it's so magical, and it's so it reflects what's around it. So I don't think it's as intrusive as other materials. It lets what's around it be itself, but it changes with the light and the weather. And I like to point out, you know, work with the architecture. You know, put things on buildings that's already there. The idea is to make people look at things that they take for granted. I did a piece in this artist house, and as you drove by, I put 420 little mirrors on the front of the building on where there were things that were sticking out. And as you drove by, it was going ch-ch-ch-ch-ch. What's really fun about that project is taxi drivers really liked it. I've talked about it. They loved driving by there because they drove a lot. So they told me this, and I just asked them, oh, yeah, we remember that. We used to drive by there to get that. And it sort of puts a little bit of, changes your everyday. You know, you don't have to bring people in a gallery. That's why I like working outside.
So mirror doesn't deteriorate.
Well, these are always temporary. In fact, that's a good question because I put a piece up that was supposed to be up for 3 months, and it's been up now for 8 years. And now I have to redo it because they bought it eventually, and it wasn't made to be put up. But you can do it if you treat it properly. Any other questions? Okay, I would just like to say one of the best things about having worked here was the professional help that we got, not only technically, but artistically. And I think it's been just a joy for all of us to work here. And I, in particular, have worked with Jeff and Mark and Khalid, who's not here today.
But Jeff.
Huh? Yeah, no, I know Jeff and Mark are here, but Khalid's not here. But at any rate, Jeff and Mark and the rest of us have had a lot to do with how both moving forward backwards has been placed and this piece here. And this piece is actually going to keep changing because they've agreed to work with me. They're going to take control and decide how much mirror is going to be exposed. They're going to send me. They have a choice if they want to pull off one strip of tape every week. You know, it just has to be recorded. And I really loved working with them. And I think they've given us this wonderful energy. I think all of us can agree. It's just been fantastic. We've loved talking with them, and Ricardo and Diana. And we have really, really enjoyed this experience. And thank you, Bethlehem, for coming as well. Boston and New York and Westchester.
Well, I thank you, and I have to apologize because the food downstairs is not ready yet. They haven't put it yet. But therefore, we have some beautiful salmon from Norway, and we have a lot of different things, but they haven't said it yet. Therefore, hang around a little bit and hope that they come fast, and then we will go downstairs. Downstairs we have what we call a visual laboratory. Basically, that is where our students, we have selections from the permanent collection. Everything downstairs belongs to the permanent collection, and that is a collaborative kind of work that we do with our museum studies and all the students and all the classes and our staff who actually do the installation and preparation of that. Do you have any other question or comment, please? And we thank the group very, very much. This has been a fantastic experience for all of us.
whole idea many, many years ago. It was basically the question if an object could cast a shadow.
Yeah, she needs to be told. I think once she finds out what she's doing these, like, Thomas is kind of a quick read study type
Good sound.
That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Boston, New York, Norway, and Pennsylvania. So nice to see the family here. And then now, do you guys want to come in?
Pero tengo que ir al carro.
Here come the artist, Betsy.
And here come the girls from
Here come
Norway.
the artists.
Leonard Marco, he's always on the telephone. He's always on the telephone. Martha's on hold. Come on. Hi, Martha.
Feel sorry for me,
Hi, ladies. Now we have to get the rest of the family to have Come on, Pat.
Hi, Ellen and Dan, how are you? Welcome to the art show.
Hi. The king is not here.
Long lives the queen.